That life interruption that felt like more than a derailment, than a detour, was actually my path to destiny. The detour may not look like the destination you imagine, but if you follow God, God will take you to the place where you were meant to be. But if I'm honest, can I be honest? You know I'm going to be honest with you. I wanted what I wanted. I wanted to be in Indianapolis as the great head of the church. I wanted everybody to know my name. Huh? I wanted everybody to say, who's that lady? Who is that? When I walked in the room. Because you see, at that point, I didn't know how to walk in the room. I learned. But then, I was a scared little girl trying to find out who she was and where God was taking me. So I wanted that position. And you know, though we say we are submitted to God, the truth of the matter is we don't take our hands off the wheel and let him drive. Even though God knows the end from the beginning, what is yet to come. And we only know what we can see right now and where we have been. Therefore, we find ourselves in places that we don't need to be. Or sometimes, if we're honest, when we made the wrong decision. Don't want to be. But thank God for detours. God working in it. I'm talking about a divine detour. A divine detour feels like an interruption, an inconvenience, a setback when it's actually God intentionally redirecting your path, often unexpectedly, to accomplish his greater purpose for your life. What has happened to you lately, recently, that you didn't expect? That threw you for a loop? Huh? I want to tell you what feels like a setback is God setting you up, preparing to take you to places you've never dreamed possible, providing you with the best, when whether you realize it or not, you were willing to settle. How many settlers do I have out there? Touch a girlfriend and say, I think she's talking about you.
I think she's talking about you. I know she's talking to me.
No, I already know. You ain't got to tell me.
But God is trying to take you somewhere. So, a divine detour has a purpose. God doesn't waste anything that happens in your life. God never wastes a hurt, a disappointment, a failure, a poor choice or decision. He works with them and in them to develop us into the women he intentionally and masterfully designed us to be, to go where he designed us to go when he shaped us for significance. Look at somebody and say, you've been shaped for significance.
You've been shaped for significance.
A divine detour is also designed for our protection. Say protection.
Protection.
God is protecting us from unforeseen dangers. In Exodus, when God delivered Israel from bondage in Egypt on their way to the promised land, he did not lead Israel through the shortest route. The one that would have gotten them there quicker. That's why you all uptight talking about, I don't know why I have to wait so long. He's trying to protect you. You may get there quicker, but will you be ready when you get there? He took them the long way around through the wilderness because they were not ready for the battles that lie ahead. Israel had never been at war. They didn't even have weapons. He had to prepare them. We're often in such a hurry to get to where we're trying to go and achieve the results that signal success, that we are not adequately prepared to deal with the challenges we will face, particularly as women in spaces that have been prepared and protected for men. The fact that doors have now been opened for us doesn't mean that everybody welcomes us or wants us in that space. And that they are not still willing to sabotage us and get us out as quickly as possible and keep us out. Huh? We have to be prepared to take our rightful place by the God who knows and sees everything, shields and protects us, knows the right mix of instructions and challenges to prepare us for success. I wish that I had heard Dr. Wanda lecture 30 years ago about strategic silence when my little fresh mouth had to answer everything and defend all that I was going through. And I even threw a few cuss words. Even in the church. God knows the right set of instructions and challenges to smooth off the rough edges. Anybody got any rough edges? I now know how that I don't have to respond to every ill-intended comment. I now know that my silence is golden. That it's intimidating. What do you think, King Dr. Hale? Then I can choose whether to tell them
Or not.
or not. And I used to holler, speak loud. Blake used to say to me all the time, stop talking so loud. Now I can whisper. Because there's something on the inside that says I know who I am. I don't need to prove that to anyone. After that rejection by those colleagues in Des Moines, I was equipped by God's grace for the next round of objections and rejections that would come, and not be devastated and feel defeated, but empowered to stand in the midst of it. I learned how not to lose my cool. I learned how not to cuss. It's the 4th month of 2026. I'm trying to remember if I've cussed all year. Yeah, that's amazing. Come on, give God praise.
Hallelujah.
I learned how to operate in my gifts and abilities. You see, each victory will help you win another one. A divine detour is designed to deepen your faith. James 1:22 through 4 says, count it pure joy, my sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith develops perseverance. Perseverance must finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. When James wrote this book, he was dealing with folks who were going through difficult challenges. They had losses to grieve, disappointments to try to dance through, and suffering that at times that was overwhelming their souls. The challenges were hard to deal with because these folks were spiritually immature. They needed to grow up in their faith. The way that we deal with our detours and disruptions in life are an indication that we perhaps need to be more faithful to the process of maturing in Christ. Dealing with detours requires trust in God. Detours are difficult because they don't make any sense in the moment. They take too long. They challenge our sense of control. But the way we respond to the pain of our detours is part of the process. None of us likes pain, right? We want to be done with it as soon as it shows up. We are always looking for a way to escape, an exit ramp, when what we need to do is just stay there and let it do what it do. Deepen our faith and develop our character. Allowing our pain to perfect us is to have the right attitude towards the detour or the life disruption. All too often, the disruption that we go through prompts us to fuss and cuss, to cry and complain, Our first response to trouble is usually a negative emotional one. Now, while this is quite reasonable under some circumstances, there is another way, sisters. There is another way.
Mm-hmm.
If we're going to respond in a way that is different from the norm, we need a new attitude. Because our attitude determines our altitude. Our outlook determines our outcome. Instead of responding to our trouble in the negative way, James is saying to consider it pure joy, my sisters, whenever you face these troubles. Though he's making a command, he is doing it with compassion because he's human and he knows what it is to go through difficult places. He's had his own struggles. He knows what it's like to respond to pain. The pure joy that he's calling for is a good rendering of the Greek phrase that means all joy, which suggests intensity or complete and unalloyed joy rather than exclusivity or nothing but joy. He's not suggesting that when you face these detours, when you have these disruptions in your life, that you are just to have joy because you're dealing with a gnawing grief. No! He's saying it's okay to be sad and sorrowful and discouraged or feeling put out or even mad and still have joy. He's talking about genuine rejoicing. Trials should be faced with an attitude of joy, not seen as punishment, a curse, or a calamity. God is not trying to punish you. God is trying to press you into your purpose. God wants more for you than you can see at this moment. God is trying to open your eyes. James is not saying that we should be joyous for the trial, but rather joyous in the trial. The word translated face can literally be expressed as fall into. Most people rejoice when they escape trials, pain, or disruption, or when it's over. But James is saying that we are to rejoice in the midst of them. The reason why we can rejoice in the midst of them is joy is not the absence of sorrow or pain. Joy is the presence of God in our lives.
Amen.
In the presence of God, there is fullness of joy.
Amen.
And when you know that God is with you in the pit, when you know that God is with you in the difficult places, when you know that he walks with you and he talks with you and he tells you that you are his own, then you can have joy. And when God is in you and you are in him, weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. That's why the psalmist says, I will bless the Lord at all times. His praise shall continually be in my mouth. Let the afflicted hear and rejoice. Oh, magnify the Lord with me and let us exalt God's name together. I dare you to give God praise right now for whatever hell you are going through, whatever difficulty you are facing. And joy in the midst of it is to change.
Yes.
Your mind
Change your mind.
concerning it. You will rejoice when you know the tremendous advantages that we receive going through them. 1 Peter 1, 6 and 8. In this you greatly rejoice, though now for a little while you may have had to suffer grief and all kinds of trials. These have come so that your faith of greater worth than gold, which perishes even though refined by fire, may be proved genuine and may result in praise, glory, and honor